Like I had mentioned in a previous comic book discussion, both DC and Marvel had continuity in characters that have been around for decades. How do you keep things fresh and interesting, as well as bring in new readers? You can have eye-catching artwork, but there is actually another way. Completely redo the comic book universe and start over. Everything new. A fresh, clean start. This will be the DC version of the discussion. If you want to hear what I have to say about Marvel, then see the Ultimate Marvel video. DC actually came late into the comic book universe revamp, copying Marvel's idea of a complete redo, years late actually. So when the time came for DC to play catch-up, the editors decided to call this new brand of magazine All-Star, after a pre-existing line of comics that were made decades before. But there were immediate problems. First of all, there were only two comic lines made, All-Star Superman and All-Star Batman. Not much for readers to choose from, both of which had their problems and was not universally good. At first, with All-Star Batman, Frank Miller was brought on to write the series. Everyone thought of Year One, which was a classic Batman story. With All-Star Superman, Grant Morrison was brought on to write. People thought of his work as well. Eventually, both lines were cancelled. I think there was a bit of a tension around these lines because everyone always wants to collect that first issue or run, thinking that the comics might be of some value in the future. Batman was portrayed as someone cruel and unflattering. Batgirl was shown as a bratty teenager. Catwoman was shown as a loose woman. How could this be worth any money? All-Star Superman was always under the radar, not attracting much attention. Ironic considering the Man of Steel's mythic status in comics. Why even talk about it? In 2003, the comic magazine Wizard hired an artist to quote-unquote ultimize the DC characters. These character designs soon found their way onto the internet and many people like these designs. Ironically, once the All-Star line came out, people preferred these simple sketches over what was considered official by DC. I myself remember reading accounts of fans hoping that these designs would be bought by DC so they could actually use these ultimate versions in the official All-Star comics, but this was not the case. Personally, I really like them too. They were hip, cutting edge, and in a lot of ways better than what we got from the official All-Star line. I read comments on the internet where people would look at the pictures and come up with their own history for the character in an ultimate style. Some of what I read was actually pretty good. Well, better than what we got anyway. Like I said, the All-Star lines were cancelled. But ironically, when compared with Marvel's Ultimate lines, it can be agreed universally that DC did everything wrong with this idea. And the concept of a DC universe being completely redone is possibly a good thing. But if it's to be done again, ignore the All-Star and truly start over from scratch. Ironically, this is what DC wanted to do in the first place, but for some reason or another never did. Is this the end of the topic? I doubt it. The idea is simply too good to forget, disappear, or ignore.